I'm Bridget Williams, Executive Director of the Heavy Constructors Association. I've been with the Heavy Constructors Association for about 10 years now. Started out as Deputy Director of the organization. I have been the Executive Director for almost 2 years. Yeah.
The Heavy Construction were founded simply because they were so different from the builders that they wanted to negotiate their own union contracts.
And back in the 50s, we deal with mainly 4 different crafts here in Kansas City, signatory to 6, but we wanted to make sure we got good agreements because the labor workforce is very important.
And it was just such a relief to have the Heavies negotiate the unions where I needed to be.
The heavy construction was primarily transportation, where the fact of the regular construction, whether it be commercial or other minor construction activities, would not, pertain to the roads and highway bridges description.
We do the heavy stuff. So we, build all of the major infrastructure for our region that covers highways, bridges, utilities, airports, dams, sewer systems, reservoirs. So we are, we do the big stuff.
The Heavies do the grunt work and the builders do the sexy work. That's the main difference. Another difference I would say is the Heavies self-perform much of our own work, probably 70 to 75%, whereas the builders will self-perform as little as 5% and be mainly general contractors on the projects.
The work that we do is very valuable. It's dangerous, but it's a much needed component of the construction industry.
The Heavies are basically involved in every single political movement that involves infrastructure or construction in general. Individually, we have, as individual companies, we are somewhat powerful, but together we are even more powerful. The Heavies provides a way for us to pool all of our resources together and to fight the good fight, and that is to give us more opportunity to do work around the city.
What made me want to be president of the Heavies is just, I'm a big believer in getting involved. I think all associations are kind of what you put into it. I believe it's kind of our duty to our industry to be a part of the association. The presence of the Heavies in Kansas City, I just think it's very important that we as an organization are able to steer that in the right direction and really help get things done.
You're taking companies that are vehement competitors out in the real world. But when they walk through the doors of the Heavy Construction Association, we're all working towards a common goal. So we work on issues that impact the industry as a whole. Those same contractors that are competing against each other on Tuesday, when we come in to negotiate the agreement on Wednesday, those issues are no longer. Now, when they walk out the door after those negotiations, I can't tell you what happens. The heavy construction entities are family-grown businesses.
Dad was fortunate enough to be one of the founding members of the Heavies back in the 50s, so he served on the board. He served as president twice. He's the only one that has ever served twice, if I remember correctly. My older brother Don, who's no longer with us, served on the board, and he was president also. And then, as I said earlier, I served on the board and was president, and now I'm back on the board.
My family has been a part of the Heavies for almost 50 years. In the beginning, we did a lot more work in outstate. We were members of the AGC of Missouri also, and until probably the early 2000s, we started doing a little bit more work in Kansas City.
My family's been involved with the Heavies from the very start. My great-grandfather was the first president of the board of directors. My father was president 2002 to 2004, I believe. and I'm honored to be a third-generation Kissick.
Hopefully, I'm sure he's being a third generation, maybe kind of bring to the table more networking and not so much electronic communication, because I'm not from that generation, so it's been hard to receive texts and just emails and not meet with the contractors.
I think we've lost some of our camaraderie and closeness, and I think that's all due to technology.
I would have to agree. Over the years, whether it would be bid lettings, whether it would be in my earlier years as far as the heavies, everything's done electronic anymore.
You know, I am excited about being part of the change of the heavy constructors. You know, I think that you could not have communicated a bigger change than to elect the youngest president of that the association has ever had, and you couple that with a minority and a female, that signals that, you know, change is a coming.
I think it's well needed. I think the fact of the matter is everything changing, everything that needs to be navigated, whether it is KDOT, MoDOT, they need to see a different person pursuing our issues, a person that has experienced, actually a female. I mean, that is something that we've all got to grasp and say, this is the direction everything is going.
I think that the more diverse experience that we have, we'll be able to branch out and understand one another.
When I became president of the Heavy Construction Association, I was only 34 years old. I was the youngest president we've had in this organization. At that time, we were also facing a time where we were transitioning with our executive directors from Ed DeSwanier to Bridget Williams, who happened to be the first African-American female to run a AGC affiliate. And that speaks volumes to where this organization is going. And I think it really shows the progression of our organization as a whole, moving into the 21st century and 2020. We've got a really good leadership group, less gray hair than it normally has had in the past.
And I think that's good, because the young is learning from the old and the old is learning from the young. You know, technology is a big piece of moving this thing forward, but we cannot move forward by forgetting where we came from. So while we email some people, we still have to fax others. So, you know, it is an education from both sides of the table. The change has really been seamless.
Everybody knows who the heavies are. You know, we got our own little, term there, the heavies. It's really the heavy contractors, obviously, of Kansas City. But because we're involved in everything and do a lot for the community that has nothing to do sometimes with construction, I think we've earned the respect. And with Bridget, leading the charge, and Ed DeSwanier before her, that we've gained that respect. And even though the politicians often don't go our way or we don't believe what they're doing, there's still a mutual respect, and I think there will be a need for the heavies for years to come.
Well, I think they definitely will be. You know, someday we're going to have to do something about our infrastructure. And when whoever decides that we're going to do something, I think the heavies will be a major player in work around the Kansas City area.
Because of all the things that we're involved in, labor negotiations with our union partners, political action, and anything and everything that comes up in the city, we have our fingers on.
I'm very proud of the fact that the Heavies has been involved in IKE, the Kansas Transportation Bill. I'm very proud of the fact that Heavies has been involved in the federal bill, getting it passed. I'm very proud of the Heavies being involved with the Missouri gas tax. We pushed extremely hard on that one. We were able to get that through. So I think everything that we've been working for is kind of coming to fruition here, and I'm proud to say that the Heavies were a big part of that.
Yeah, the Heavies were very important, very instrumental in getting this project done finally after 1.5 years of negotiations, and Bridget Williams particularly, who knows everybody in Kansas City, is close with the council people, is close with the mayor. She was vital in just the Heavies leverage, lack of a better word. There are a lot of members of the heavy contractors that will be doing work on the airport. Very fortunate that we were able to do some work way back in the late 60s, early 70s, before KCI opened in 72, and now we're on the team again 50 years later. So we're very fortunate, and there's quite a few of the Heavy members that also worked on the original airport, and they will also work on this airport.
In years to come, I think my role with the Heavies, hopefully I can continue to serve on the board and continue to do the important things that we do as far as being involved in the community, being involved in labor negotiations, and just making sure that our industry, we can come together and have one voice and a strong voice and be able to make a difference.
Again, where we were was an organization that was founded to negotiate union contracts. Where we are is in transition, where our current leadership of companies are now passing the baton to the next generation, to the third generation. And where we're going is building an industry that has a funding mechanism where it's long-term and not piecemealed. An industry where we're going back to talking to each other face to face versus through email and over the telephone, where we are sort of combining the young and the old and taking the best of the two and becoming an industry that changes with technology but doesn't forget where we came from.
So, as a child, what's the worst thing you ever did that your mom doesn't know?
What?
Come on, it's just to get you comfortable.
This is on camera.
So, anything you'd like to add?
Start over. She gave me the Oprah look.
There's a lot of cutting going on my tape here. George, I'm on overtime here.
So, I'm a musical artist. They know me as Beyonce.
That sounds good. It's like we're really outside.
Well, yeah, we got that
Yeah, it's an airplane.
airplane,
You want to know who I am? I am Beyonce. Mic drop. Who you is? Okay, go ahead.
I still don't want them to know, so I guess, I'm not telling. Yeah. Nah.
I need one worse than Gavin.
No, you just want to drive her. Okay, so who are you? Who are you?
Yeah, who are you? Who are you?
Who are you? Yes, we want to know who you are, Sonia.
That's what's up. Yeah, now that we got that out the way, who are you?
So, how great is Bridget Williams?
Oh man, is she great. Well, I've witnessed this.
Repeat the question.
Oh, Bridget Williams is so great. Yeah. Let me tell you how great Bridget Williams is.
So it's almost like we need to force ourselves to come together and talk face to face.
No.
Kind of like you're doing this interview. You were forced to do that.
Yeah.
Fourth generation is now becoming obsessed with NAIA basketball just like I was and my father before me.
So, do you sit on the bench as an honorary coach? Do you yell at the players?
I don't, I yell at the referees.
You do?
I do.
You do?
I try not to. I speak to them. I don't yell at them.
Do you say things like, even Stevie Wonder could see that?
No, I'm more original.